Welcome everybody, share number 921. We're learning today L'Refuah Shlema Sheina Devara Bas Chanaleah Shetakat have a Refuah Shlema B'Soich Sha'ar Chayli Yisrael. Getting back to our malacha of MAKEH B'PATISH. Okay, we're in the middle of talking about the various different types of Isurim Midrabanan, whereby Chazal made certain zeres in conjunction with whereby one might come to be over MAKEH B'PATISH. And we're working on the first one, which is klei shir, in general, items which make noise, which make music, or one makes music, and nothing to do with electricity, but just the concept of making music, whereby Chazal said there's a gezer one might come to fix instruments. Okay, so just to real quickly to review, establish what the concept was, what the Isser is, being mishtamish b'klei shir, and in general, it brings down the Sefer Yisrael Halachos in conjunction what we've been learning. Number one is Asur l'shtamish b'kli hamiyuchad l'shir, an instrument, again, nothing to do with electricity, just in general, an item that's made to make noise. It's not allowed to be used on Shabbos in general. He brings some examples, which I want to talk about one example today. Next, he brings down avol b'kelim she'enam miyuchadim shtamish b'kol, utensils which are not made to make noise, like a fork, for example. A fork is made to eat; it's nothing to do with making noise. Muter hashmiya koil she'ena shel shir. You are allowed to use it to make a sound, but not to make a rhythmic type of a sound, like a beat or something, whereby it's a melody or something along those lines. Okay, so that's the basic concept. If it's a utensil, if it's an item that's made to make noise, it's not allowed to be used, even though you're going to say, well, I'm not going to make music with it, right? I'm just going to use it to make noise. Since it's made to make noise, it's not allowed to be used. But a utensil, which is not made to make noise, and you just want to bang with it, let's say, like we gave last time, the example of getting people's attention, I'll bang with a fork on a glass or something like that, so then we said that is fine. But to use a utensil, like a fork, knife, or something like that, which is not make noise, and to make a rhythmic sound with it, like a melody, to bang a drum beat or something like that, to bang in a musical way on the table or on a glass or something like that, would not be allowed to be done, even though it's a instrument, a utensil like a fork, a spoon, or something like that, which is not made for sound. Okay, that's the bottom line. And the other type, the one that's made, the utensil that's made to make sound, even though you're not making a rhythmic type of a noise, you're just using it to make sound. That still can be done. Now, one example which I want to talk about, we spoke about last time, whistling and these type of things, so that we said with the body, a little different. Okay, we'll get the clapping and so on. I just want to talk a minute about the door knocker, what the famous case brought down in the Ramon, in the Siman Shin Lamed Ches, and how to work with a door knocker. Now, what do we mean by a door knocker? You have many people have on their door this round ring, and it's made to make noise, right? It's very simply, it's there to make noise. It's not made to make a rhythmic sound, start making a drum beat on it, but you bang on. It's made to bang on the door so that people will hear inside that, so that you could get in. So the bottom line is, it's made to make sound. What about, so we're going to see what the halacha is with that. Now, the Mishnah Berurah brings down an interesting thing. Let's say I want to make, so that is taka going to be a problem. We're going to see how that works in the Ramah. What about if I want to make the sound, I want to get into a house, I can't, the door's locked, I want to knock. So preferably one should supposed to use their hands. Ramah says in the end one should use their hands. The Ramah says it's the end of Sif Aleph, again Siman Shin Lamed Ches, Sif Aleph, Makeh B'Yoda Yaladelas. Knock with your hands. Okay, whatever the reason is, a person can't. Let's cold. They have cuts on their skin. Sometimes these various different type of things. It's hard, be it as it may. But let's say I want to use the lock. There's no right now. Let's say a different case, not a question of the ringer. Mishnah Berurah brings that not a question of the ring that's attached to the door. That's more problematic. But let's say I want to use the lock itself. Let's say I want to use, there's a lock. Sometimes you have this rod and you have a little piece sticking out. And it's part of the lock that's made to you push it in, right? Push it back, push it back and forth, and it locks the door, right? Sometimes it has a little piece sticking out like a handle, and sometimes a little bit bigger. You can mamish knock the door with that lock, with the piece, with the handle that sticks out of the rod, whereby it's on the lock. It's like this long rod. You stick it in the hole, right, and pull it back when you want to open the door. The question is that taka made to make noise or not? No. So the Mishnah brings down something like that. That's not made to make noise. That's made to lock your door, right? That's made to lock your door. That's not made to make noise. So maybe that will be taka much easier to use. Maybe it's like a fork. When we bang with a fork on the table, to get people's attention. So maybe I could use the lock, that little handle that's on top of the rod, that's part of the lock. I could use that to bang on the door. It's not made to make noise. It's made just to lock the door. Okay, so basically the Rama tells us straight up, also lahakos b'Shabbos, one cannot bang on Shabbos al hadelis, on the door, b'tabas hagavua b'delis, that with that ring that's made on the door, that ring that's the ring that's made to bang on the door, the knocker, the door knocker, if you want to call it. Now, again, of course, we're not talking about anything that's electric over here, nothing to do with electricity. Even without that, it's still usher to bang with the door knocker. It goes without saying to bang, to use bells, to get to start ringing bells, even when it's not electric, start ringing bells outside to get people to open the door also can be done. So he says further, does Rama, even though I'm just banging on the door with the door knocker just to get people to open the door. I'm not playing a beat. I'm not playing a melody on the door. He tells us the Rama, since it's a kli, it's a utensil that's made to make noise, is aser. That's the bottom line. When it's a kli, when it's a utensil that's made to make noise, even though you're not playing a beat, you're not playing a melody, it's still aser to use. And he brings a case, does the Ramah, and many years ago, in the olden days, they used to, the shamish used to bang on the doors, get people to come to shul, to wake up, or whatever the case was. But he says, also on Shabbos, it's also l'shamish l'hakes aladelis, the shamish cannot bang with the door knocker, likreis l'beis hakneses holiday kliya miyuchad l'kach, since it's made on this door knocker, because since it's made to make noise, elamaka biyadei al hadelis, he should taka use his hand. Okay. So just real quickly to read. So that's the bottom line. A door knocker in general we don't use. Now the Bir Halacha does bring down. B'shasat chak. Let's say somebody's mamish stuck. They're outside, right, and they just can't get in the house. Have no way of getting in the house. So bang with your hand. Whatever reason is, they can't bang with their hand. They hurt their hand, whatever the case is. Sometimes, again, like we said, sometimes people have cuts in the winter. They just can't bang with their hand, whatever the case is. If it's a real b'shasat chak and somebody really gets stuck, so there is what to rely on in cases of great necessity to bang with the door knocker if they have to. Just to read real quickly from the Sefer Lametes, from the Sefer Shabbos Home, he says a door knocker on page 535. A door knocker, again, this metal ring that's attached to the door with a hinge, falls into the category of utensils made to create sound. Therefore, one is forbidden to use this utensil on Shabbos. But he does bring down, like we saw from the Bir Halacha, however, in a case of great need, great necessity, where this is the only way a person could get into the house. I just can't get, if I bang with my hand, it won't be loud enough, or my hand hurts, or whatever, be it as it may, whatever the case is, I just can't use my hand right now. So it's a great need, and I have to get in the house, so then one is permitted, like we saw in the Bir Halacha, one is allowed to use a non-electric, of course it has to be non-electric, door knocker on Shabbos for the various different reasons. I'm not going to get into everything right now. The Bir Halacha talks about. The Bir Halacha also brings down, which the Shmir Shabbos Hilchos brings down also, Lamaisa, that if it's a door knocker that's made specifically for Shabbos or Yom Tif, that will be easier also to use, because it's a question of the Chayil, so therefore if it's set aside specifically only for Shabbos or for Yom Tif, then there are those who will be more Mekel. The Shmir Shabbos is in that instance also. But in general, the person has a door knocker, they're not starting to change their door knocker for Shabbos and so on. But if that is the case, there is to rely on when your door knocker is and it's non-electric and it's only a ring, to use it specifically only for Shabbos or specifically only for Yom Tov. Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about next year in reference to what about using the lock, which we spoke about before. Maybe that is another possible way to bang on the door when one has to get in the house. Thank you for listening. Atzlach and bracha, kol tov.